ready for a wild one today because we are diving deep into Vril.
Vril.
Yeah, Vril. This mysterious energy force. It's been sparking imaginations for over a century.
Okay.
We're going from a hit Victorian novel to, get this, whispers of Nazi conspiracies.
Oh, wow.
Unpacking how Vril went from, like, fiction to full-blown fascination and maybe even a touch of fear.
I'm intrigued. And it seems that we have quite the journey ahead of us looking at the sources you provided. We're starting with the OG text itself.
Oh, yeah.
The 1871 novel Vril, The Power of the Coming Race by Edward Bulwer-Lytton. And then we're going to use the Vril Wikipedia page to follow its real-world ripple effect.
Yeah, so full disclosure, when I first bumped into this whole Vril thing, I thought, okay, this is out there, but stick with me. There's a reason this idea, it stuck around. And it all begins with Lytton's story. Picture this. Explorer dude stumbles on, a whole hidden civilization.
Okay.
Deep underground.
Deep underground, okay.
And this isn't just some lost tribe hanging out. This is the Vrilia, a super advanced race. And here's the kicker. They're powered by Vril.
Of course, powered by Vril. It's all in the name, right?
Right. It's all in the name.
We have to remember the context of this time. Victorian era, right? It was a time of mind-blowing technological advancements. Electricity, steam power, even the telegraph, groundbreaking stuff.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And these inventions were completely changing society. But there's always a but, right? They also spark some serious anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Lytton's novel, it taps into this unease, imagining a future shaped by a power even more transformative, maybe even dangerous.
Yeah. Vril. And Lytton, he doesn't really hold back, He paints this vivid picture of these Vrilia and their whole society. They're like tall, winged beings.
Oh, wow.
Almost like godlike serenity.
Not your average Joes, then.
No, not your average Joes.
Yeah.
Definitely not the kind of folks you'd expect to find chilling in a cave, right?
Right.
But here's where it gets, interesting. Their mastery of Vril, it gives them these incredible abilities. We're talking healing with a touch, telepathic communication, even controlling the elements.
So superpowers, essentially.
Basically. Sounds pretty utopian, right?
On the surface, yeah, it does sound pretty idyllic. But Lytton, he's a clever guy. He uses this seemingly perfect society to, poke at some Victorian anxiety.
I like it.
Take, for example, their lack of emotion. They're described as almost completely emotionless. Logic and efficiency rule their world.
Interesting.
Which could totally be read as a commentary on Victorian England. Super strict social norms, emotional expression, very repressed.
So it's he's saying, be careful what you wish for with all this progress.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it might have a downside.
Exactly. And that leads us to one of the most, I think, striking parts of the book, the Vrilia's capacity for destruction.
Okay.
Because while they're all about peace, they have the power to wipe out entire cities with a single thought.
Okay, now that's a little creepy. So even with all their advancements, it might not be a utopia after all.
Right.
It could even be more dangerous, right?
It's like he's saying technology doesn't automatically equal utopia. In the wrong hands, it could be devastating.
And that's a theme we'll see again and again as we dig deeper into this whole Vril thing.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing, right? This whole Vril craze, it wasn't just stuck in the pages of Lytton's book. It jumped out into the real world. People were really captivated by it.
It's a classic case of life imitating art, or at least trying to, right? Mm-hmm. The idea of this hidden energy, something with, almost supernatural powers, it really resonated in the late 19th century. Think about it. Back then, scientific discoveries were happening so fast.
Oh, totally.
It was a time of immense change.
Can you imagine how magical something like electricity must have seemed back then?
Exactly. People were ready to believe in these hidden forces, things that could, transform humanity.
And of course, marketers saw a chance to cash in on this whole Vril fascination.
Oh, yeah.
Take Bovril, for instance.
The beef extract drink.
Yeah, you know it. I mean, it might seem kind of random now, but they named it after Vril.
Wow.
Marketed it as this super nutritious, almost mystical elixir, bottling up the power of Vril.
Harnessing the power for the everyday person.
Exactly. And Bovril was just the tip of the iceberg. Vril was everywhere. Advertisements, newspapers, you name it. There was even a Vrilia bazaar.
Really?
At the Royal Albert Hall in London.
You're kidding.
I'm not. It just goes to show how much this idea had, seeped into the culture.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And it's important to note that while Lytton used Vril as this kind of warning, like a be careful what you wish for with technology, others, well, they saw it differently.
So instead of focusing on the potential dangers, they were drawn to the idea of Vril as this, source of power and progress.
Exactly. And that shift in how people viewed it, that's where things get a bit darker as we move into the 20th century, especially with the rise of Nazi Germany.
Okay, so how does a Victorian novel about, a hidden utopia end up tangled up with the Nazis?
Right. Well, it all starts with this idea of the Vril Society. In the 1960s, these authors, Jacques Bergier and Louis Pauls, they wrote this book called The Morning of the Magicians. And in it, they claim that this secret society, the Vril Society, existed in Germany even before the Nazis.
And this Vril Society, they were obsessed with Lytton's book. They actually believed Vril could create a master race.
That's what Bergier and Pauwels claimed. But here's the thing. There's really no solid historical evidence to back up the existence of this Vril Society. Historians who've studied the Nazis in depth, they mostly dismiss it. It's more likely a case of fiction being misinterpreted as fact.
So the Vril Society itself might be a myth, but was there any actual Nazi interest in the occult?
That's the thing, right. While the Vril Society might be a bit far-fetched, the Nazis definitely had a documented thing for the occult, for esoteric traditions. They were known to explore all sorts of mystical and, frankly, pseudoscientific ideas, often twisting them to fit their own twisted ideology.
So you've got this pre-existing fascination with the occult mixed with a popular novel about super beings powered by a mysterious energy. It's like a breeding ground for conspiracy theories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how easily these seemingly harmless ideas can be, manipulated and used for really bad things. The power of a compelling story, especially one that taps into our fears and desires, it shouldn't be underestimated.
So from a hidden civilization powered by Vril, we went to beef extract and even a supposed Nazi secret society. It's kind of wild what we've managed to dig up in this deep dive.
And I think what really sticks out is how relevant Lytton's novel still feels after all this time. Remember how we were talking about those Victorian anxieties about technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, those haven't exactly gone away.
No, not at all. It's almost like they've gotten stronger in the 21st century, right? We've got AI, genetic engineering, the whole cyber warfare thing. It's like Lytton could see the future and our anxieties.
Exactly. His work, it really transcends its time. It's a reminder that with every technological leap, we're faced with this potential for both progress and disaster. And the real question is, can we handle it? Can we be responsible with these powers?
It really makes you think about the Vril. They had all this power, but at what cost? It seems like they kind of lost some of their humanity along the way.
Yes, and that's the cautionary message that's kind of woven through Lytton's whole story.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying, be careful what you wish for. Progress, if it's not guided by some kind of moral compass, can lead us to a pretty bleak future.
That's a chilling thought, but so important. We can't just keep racing towards progress without thinking about what might be waiting for us on the other side.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the real power of a book like Vril, The Power of the Coming Race. It makes us stop and think. It sparks this deep dive into the heart of progress. It makes us face the responsibilities that come with wielding powerful forces.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Vril, it's safe to say this isn't just some dusty old Victorian relic, right?
Not at all. It's a story that still speaks to us today. It's a cautionary tale for the modern age.
It's a reminder that some of the most amazing discoveries aren't found in a lab, but in the pages of a book that makes you think. Leaving you with more to ponder than a Vril-powered spaceship, this has been The Deep Dive.